Ari Shaffir, deep doo-doo. What's up, everybody? Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. Okay, so apparently Ari Shaffir is in some trouble because of a tweet that he put out about Kobe Bryant, and also doubling down on it with a video, or maybe he put the video out first and then the tweet, and then he said he was hacked, but like his fans were saying, if you know anything about him, he was saying he was hacked as like an inside joke for him and his fans, you know, that kind of thing. People ask me how I feel about it, and like I did post something on Facebook that wasn't about Ari specifically, because like a bunch of comedians started posting these jokes about Kobe, and I noticed that none of them were landing. And I had just woken up when I saw this, you know, because I woke up to the news about Kobe, and all of a sudden I started seeing like a bunch of comedians that had posted these jokes about Kobe, and people weren't laughing. People were instead getting mad, and it really hurt a lot of people, which I knew was going to happen. You know, as soon as I heard that he had died, I knew the jokes were coming, and I knew that people were going to be mad because people just take their teams a special way, and that's really just what it is. And I feel like if you're a comedian, you don't have to accept that, but you have to accept that there's going to be consequences if you cross that line. I was once at a show in the Bay Area, which, you know, the Bay Area in California, ethnically diverse. This show, I can't remember what city it was in, but what happened was there was a comedian on stage that has since passed, but that's neither here nor there. And he was doing these jokes that were so offensive, because, you know, I don't care about anything, but they were so offensive. And he said like the N-word at a different point, all sorts of race jokes. And then, you know, in the Bay, he brought up the 49ers, and I think it was the Raiders that he also brought up. But he brought up those two, I believe it was. And the whole crowd turned on him. And I could not stop laughing in the back of the room, because he had said every racist thing you can imagine. He had said, like, you know, he said the N-word. He was Mexican, and he said the N-word. And everybody was just like, whatever. You know, people were laughing. Some people were, nobody was offended, you know. Everybody was just acting like whatever. And then he brings up sports, and people lose it. One time, I didn't even mention anything about sports themselves. I think I mentioned Super Bowl. Yeah, because I was performing, and I said, like, Super Bowl. And that's all I said, and it was around Super Bowl time, and people just started shouting out their team. And I was just like, you know, yeah, with sports, people go crazy. So you just have to accept that. So then Ari gets on, and like, you know, because I had posted the thing about, like, your Kobe joke isn't landing, just let it go. This isn't the hill to die on, which is a little bit of a nugget for some people. You either got it or you didn't, and I don't care how you feel about it. I posted my post, and it was what it was. But I didn't outright do a Kobe joke. So, I tried to warn people that this is not the hill to die on. And yeah, there was a little bit of a pun there, I guess you could say, or wordplay, a double entendre. But I really was trying to let these comedians know this isn't the one. Like, let it go. It's not that big a deal. It doesn't matter that much to you. It's not really about freedom of speech, because you do have freedom of speech. We all have freedom of speech. But the thing is, there can be consequences to that speech, especially in this day and age with social media being what it is. People really do try to cancel you nowadays. So is it really worth it for this little Kobe joke that probably really isn't that clever and probably really isn't that original, but you're going to blow your whole career about it? And then Ari Shaffir said, "Hold my beer," and just blew it out of the water as far as offensive went, because, you know, he said that it was a good day that Kobe had died and that Kobe was a racist, and then he put out a tweet that, like I said, doubled down on that, and then he said that he was hacked, which they said was a joke, but it's like, you know, and then I think he probably felt pretty good about it. And I will tell you that I know Ari Shaffir in passing. We're not best friends. We don't talk all the time. I don't have his phone number. He doesn't have mine. We're not homies like that. But like coming up at the Comedy Store, you know, when I started there 15 or 16 years ago, which I'm not a regular. I'll be very clear about that. I'm not a Comedy Store regular. Many would say I should be. Many would say I earned it. but I'm not a regular. One day I'll talk about why, but today ain't that day. But I do have a very good relationship with the Comedy Store, and I do have a very good relationship with almost every one of the employees at the Comedy Store. And anybody that has spent any time at the Comedy Store knows I know people at the Comedy Store. It just is what it is. So Ari Shaffir is one of those people that I have met, and he's always been nice to me. He was always encouraging of me. So I'm not going to throw him under the bus, not only for that reason, not only because he was always nice to me, but I do think sometimes with stand-up comedy, you do get a little insulated and you live in your own world. So sometimes you'll say things that are very insensitive. For a long time, I was doing similar stuff, but not necessarily, it was about like, mine was a little bit different because rather than taking somebody that everybody loved, because I can agree, there are certain people that everybody loves and that's just what it is. But when it comes to some of the people that were dying, I think it was 2015 when people started the Damn You 2015. I think that was 2015. Or maybe it was 2015, yeah, it was Damn You 2015. And people would die and people would put on Facebook like, damn you 2015, now you took this person. And a lot of those I would make fun of, and openly, on Facebook, Twitter, wherever it was, social media, because it was these people that nobody had been paying attention to, had definitely been around, but nobody was watching their movies or putting them on TV shows or any of that stuff, and then they die and everybody acts like they were the biggest superstar in the world, and such a tragedy, and I'm gonna miss them so much. And it's like, when's the last time you watched their stuff? But with Kobe, it's not that kind of situation. Kobe hadn't fallen by the wayside at all. Like everybody, Kobe Bryant, everybody can agree, was a current celebrity when he died. A very famous, well-respected. There's always the debate whether or not he was the best. You hear some people think he is the best, some people say he isn't the best, but the thing is, he died. And yeah, somebody posted that you can feel bad for Vanessa, his wife, or you can acknowledge that he was a great athlete. And you can also feel bad for the survivor of the sexual assault, which, when it comes to sexual assault, I'm not really going to speak on that because I never really looked into it. It was something that, at the time that was big news, I had just moved to LA and I was living in my car. And so I wasn't doing research on Kobe Bryant's sexual assault case. And so while sexual assault is a very serious thing, I would not speak on that because I never even looked into it. I don't have any idea. I know that he was accused of anally raping, or that was part of it, but that's just because popular culture and jokes, as terrible as that would sound, but people were doing jokes about that. But I didn't know anything about that. And so it seemed like on some level America had made peace with that in whatever had happened with it. So to bring that up, to me, seems a little off the mark. And I don't know. I mean, I'm in this one, I will say this. I think that Ari just made a mistake in thinking that he could get away with absolutely anything, because when you have a fan base as big as his and you've had as much success as he's had, which however you feel about his stand-up comedy, or even if you're not familiar with his stand-up comedy, the thing is he definitely does have his fan base. There are people that definitely do love him, and he makes a lot of money and has for several years now. So sometimes when people reach that level, they get a little bit full of themselves and think like, I can't go wrong. There's nothing I can do wrong. Like, he said a bunch of controversial stuff. He dosed Bert Kreischer, who's one of his friends, and I'm not sure of the details on that either, but I know that it happened. Everybody's been talking about it online since this happened. And so it's one of those things where it's like, you got a little bit ahead of yourself and maybe thought you were a little bit more untouchable than you were, and then people have started calling the comedy clubs he was supposed to perform at and threatening that they were gonna, shoot up the place was what one was told, Stand Up New York, I think it was, or New York Comedy Club. I can't remember. I saw the article. Look, this isn't hard-hitting journalism, you guys. If you want the exact detail, I'll include a link below, okay? I'm going to include a link below right in the description so you guys can find out everything you want to know. But as far as what I'm talking about more the situation where everybody's trying to cancel him and ruin his life and make sure that he knows. And I feel bad for, Ari, because, I've had people try to cancel me. I've talked about that. 2015 was a year of people trying to cancel me. And I mean, they really tried to cancel me. They were online, they were emailing bookers, but not understanding that I've known the people I've worked for years and years and years. So it was like the fact that I said something that got on your nerves. I mean, one time it was something about healthcare, and somebody tried to call a club, email a club, not call. They emailed the club and said that they were going to protest because I didn't agree with them on healthcare. Literally, that's what it was about, healthcare. So, but everybody was trying it for a minute there. A lot of people were. And so I know what it's like to have the internet really come after you. And I don't really wish that on anybody because it's just a lot of unnecessary stress. You're like, why is all this happening right now? I just said something you didn't agree with. And yeah, I may be a little bit of an asshole. And yeah, I may have gone a little bit too far. But at the same time, can you please just get a life? Is that possible? Is it possible for you to just take some time out of your boring ass day and actually get a life? Because yes, you can say, this is horrible. Ari is a terrible person for thinking this way. You can say that if you want to. I don't know that I think Ari is a terrible person. I think he's had some bad judgment and, like I said, got full of himself. But I don't think he's a terrible person. It's just not the way I see. Like I said, I know him. I know him. Like, he's always been nice, and he just got carried away. So anyway, but you don't have to make it so now he shouldn't be able to work. He shouldn't be able to have a job. And I know, yes, his daughter died, and that is very tragic. And I'm not trying to make light of any of the fact that several people died in that helicopter crash, including Kobe Bryant, which is still a tragedy, whether you think so or not. Even Kobe Bryant dying, if we value human life, then you have to say that Kobe Bryant dying was a bad thing too, So yeah, I get it, but at the same time, I don't think that you have to ruin an entire person's career, life, make sure they never work again. It's like, all right, so you expressed that you don't like it, and now he knows, and now he's heard you. But stop trying to cancel everybody over everything, and stop trying to cancel everybody over anything. Like, there's very few things that should make it so a person completely can't work or practice their trade. And comedy is a skill, and it is a trade. So, if he's been able to amass a certain amount, and the problem I have with cancel culture is that it doesn't let the market decide. Because with cancel culture, what they'll do is like this. They call and threaten to shoot up the club, and now the club obviously isn't going to have the show, but really it's because the people that are trying to cancel him worry that his fans actually will just show up, and that there will be more support for an idea that they don't think is popular than they think should be. And that will mess up their entire universe. That will blow their mind. It is what it is. People are going to do what they're going to do. That's just my 2 cents. I mean, who am I? I might get canceled for something I said in this video. What the hell do I know? But, I have, on a good day, 100 and something people that watch my videos. Okay, sometimes I have 1,000. Sometimes it's 20,000. That has happened. But it's very rare that we get in the 20,000. Usually 1,000 at the most, but 100 on average. So if one of you 100 try to get me canceled, I will find out who you are. There's only 100 of you. You think I can't find out who you are? Of course I can. I know a lot about technology. Okay, I know nothing about technology. There's nothing I can do about it. Go ahead and cancel me. Finish your day. Thank you for watching, everybody. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.